Hi everybody, welcome to the International Crafters Video Blog Hop. I'm Lorraine Tierney and I craft at chatandcraftwithlorraine.com, or that's my blog, and that's where you can find me on social media. And this month we have the theme of fun folds. So I'm going to show you how to make a Simply Zinnia Swinging Tent Fold card. I think it's kind of cool and I hope you'll like it too. I will have a blog post that will go along with this and have all the measurements on it for you. I'll put the link in the comments or in the description below. Okay, thanks so much. Let's get started. I'll just switch this over. So like I said, we're going to use the Simply Zinnia stamp set. We're going to use this die from the Garden Meadow dies, the online exclusive bundle. And I have a thick basic white card base. It's Tentfold, so it's 4 1/4 by 11. And then I have a piece of the Simply Zinnia Designer Series paper that we're going to put on the front. That is 5 1/4 by 4. Now we're only going to put the glue around the very edge of it because we need to cut out a little bit of the center. Oh, and I didn't get my glue started beforehand. It's always on alive that your glue doesn't come out without a little help, right? I forgot to close this up last night. I may have to get another one. Let me try just one more time to pull that little plug out of there. Okay, that is not going to work. How about this one? Oh, this must have been the one I was using last night. Okay, so just a little bit of the Tombow multi-purpose glue around the edge. Okay, and I'm going to give that just a minute to dry before we put it through the stamp and cut and emboss machine, because sometimes that can squish the glue out. We are going to put it through like this and create a window in the front of the card. I'm going to get a piece of my Post-it note tape that I love, and I'm going to try and make sure I have this centered and square on the card. So we'll hang on to that for just a second. We'll get the zinnia ready. So I stamped this big stamp, this one, in Memento ink on here, and I find to get the centers of these stamps to ink up, I need to turn it over and pounce my pad on it. Otherwise I was getting very light coverage in the center of the stamps. So I've already colored the stems with dark Mossy Meadow, and the leaves in lighter Mossy Meadow with just a little bit of dark around them in certain spots. I let that dry a little bit, and now we'll just kind of blend some of that in a little bit more. I've been using my blends a lot lately, and this is one of the sets that's probably due to be replaced. I'm going to color the flowers 3 different purples. So this one was the light fresh freesia with just a tiny bit of dark fresh freesia, which is around here someplace. Here's the dark fresh freesia, just a little bit to give it some shading, just a tad. Now I'm going to use the dark Highland Heather on one of these. I think we're going to use the dark Highland Heather and the light Highland Heather. So I think I'll do the dark over here. I am going to color these little stars with my Daffodil Delight and the little dots with those before we get started. Okay. All right, so this is the dark Highland Heather. I'm going to use my brush tip. I have, this is thick basic white here. You always want to use the thick for your blends. You get much better coverage and less bleeding and running. I'm trying to not take so long that it's crazy long for you to watch me color. I kind of just do the majority of it without worrying about the individual petals until I get up near the top edge. I love the purples. I love zinnias. I think they're such a nice, vibrant color. Okay, and now, do I want to do the dark freesia, or let's get a little scrap of white. Dark freesia. Wow, I can't get that open. Or light Highland Heather. I think I want to do the Highland Heather. The freesia is looking a little pinkish to me, and I want to stay purplish. So we'll just do this. And get these edges. Okay. And I'm just going to do a tiny bit of the dark Highland Heather. Too many purples out here. Just a little bit to give it a little bit of depth on the ends of some of these petals. I say I'm a sloppy blends colorer. I don't like to layer and layer and layer. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this out with the corresponding die. I'm going to use a piece of tape. Whoa, I got a big one on that. And we'll cut the arch out of this one. So I'm just putting that through my stamp and cut and emboss machine. It's right behind where I'm videoing, but I don't like to shake the table. All right, and here are my zinnias. And now we'll start the fun part of assembling the card. Okay, there's the zinnias. And here is the front of our card. You can save both of those for a different project. Now I'm going to fold this. I feel like I got a little bit of glue coming out of that, even though we waited. Okay. So this is part of the Tentfold. I also used the Zinnia Embossing folder, and it's important to note that this folder does not go like this. The pattern, you have to hold the folder sideways to get the pattern in the proper orientation. So I already put this through, and this is going to go in the back here, but we have a couple of things we need to do before we put that on, and that was just 4 1/4 by 5. We are going to, let's see, we are going to put our stand part of this. So a swinging tent fold needs to stay like this, and sometimes they open up too much. So I like to put a little piece on the inside that will hold it and stop it from coming apart too much. So we need to put part of this on, and this piece is just 3 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 1/2, 1 1/2, and 2 1/2. But that, again, that will be in a blog post for you. So now I'm going to put some tear and tape on this piece, just on those 1/2 inch pieces. Okay, and they're going to go like sort of like a W with short sides. They're going to go right inside this. And I like to use my corner of my trimmer. I put everything right in here, and then I can get it nice and lined up, which I am not quite lined up. There we go. Okay, so that's going to go there. I'm not going to put the top of it down yet until we do a little bit more, but it's ready to go. I am going to go ahead and put this piece in. So it's just going to get centered right inside. I love this embossing folder. And I'm not sure there's a right or a wrong way to use it. Whatever is your preference. I'm going for the smoother side facing up. So the flowers are actually kind of debossed on this. Okay. Now, these are the flowers that are going to swing from our card. So we need a piece of window sheet. And this window sheet was 4 1/4 by a 1/2 inch. It's really hard to see. I don't know how to make it so you can see it a little bit better, but it's a very thin piece of acetate. I'm going to put some tear and tape right on the acetate. So I want it to just go on the back of my flower. And we'll look at the front while we do it to make sure we have it straight. But I'm not going to put the tear and tape all the way up because some of this window sheet is going to stick out above my zinnias. So I'm going to, it's going to get attached in here. I did score the end at about 1/4 and give it a really good burnish with my bone folder. And that's going to attach right there in the center. Okay. And then our flowers are going to hang. So for the flowers to hang in the center and to hide this a little bit, I'm actually putting the piece of acetate to the left a little more than you might think. So I'm going to put that there. And I actually want it to come down a little bit more than I thought, because I want it to clear there. And it seems like I got a little bit of something that didn't cut all the way. There we go. All right, so that's down a little bit. I'm going to put a tiny piece of tear-in tape under that. Glue does not work well with acetate. So I'm going to put a little tear-in tape right there. And now take this off. Okay. And again, I'm going to look through here to see where I want that so it looks like my flowers are centered and hanging at a nice angle. And I'll give that a rub. Okay, so now I fold up my little piece that keeps things together. I don't know what you would call it. Maybe the stand? I don't know. And then it's going to line up. There we go. And this will go like that. Now, we don't want to see this piece right here, this white. So that's where we're going to put our sentiment. Our sentiment will go right across the bottom here, just enough to cover that up and to hold our flowers in place. So I'm going to use, I lost my stamp set, I'm going to use the Sending Flowers and Thinking of You sentiment from the Zinnia stamp set. I really like that, especially with a card with so many flowers on it. Oh, just put my hand in the ink. Okay. And so this is about a 1/2 inch by, I think, 3 3/4 to span across that. Trying to get that straight on my grid paper. And now I will stamp it. There we go. And I think I can put a little glue on either side. Yep. I want to let that radiating stitches kind of impression that the die makes, I want to let that show. I don't want to cover that up. So I'm going to try to just go above that and get it straight. So that's how the card looks. I don't really have a good angle. I could, whoa, let me switch this. And I could show you like this. Well, so this is, I can't hold my hand flat. This is the Swinging Tentfold card. So the flower is able to swing a little bit, gives you some movement. And we'll put a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 inch white on the back, because I would not want to try to stamp directly on the back of this. Let me switch my camera back because it's bumpy and lumpy and has too much going on. And I want this to be a birthday card. And I forgot to grab my sentiment. Let me grab, I'm going to go for the artistically inked sentiment that I'm going to miss so much. I love the happy birthday on the back of this. So that's what we'll put. I'll take this one off, and I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow again. And we'll stamp that on the back. And then I'm actually not going to adhere it yet. I'm going to wait until I'm ready to write out my message on it. And then I'll do that and adhere it to the back because it's too lumpy to write on. But that is our beautiful card. I'll show you one more time, and I will stand it on the stamp case so you can see. If you have some Wink of Stella, you could add a little wink to the flowers, and you can see the embossing on the background. It's really kind of pretty, and that's how it looks from the side. All right, I hope you will give this a try. Please, if you liked this video, let me know. I love to have a comment, and thanks so much. Oh, and don't forget to hop on to the next person. I'm sure you'll see a lot of fun fold cards that are going to be wonderful. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.